About, I would say, 2 years ago, I felt like I had lost my passion for doing good, whether it was in school, in sports, or just in my general life. I felt like I didn't have a drive to do anything of significance. I ended that year with one of the lowest grades I've ever had, which is about a 58%. That's from memory. For me, this felt like a crushing defeat, and I knew I had to change something. So, what did I do? This is the story of how I lost my passion and how I got it back. Before the video starts, I just want to say thanks for clicking on the video, and if you want to see more of these types of videos in the future, then be sure to like, and if you haven't already, then hit the subscribe button, as it would go a long way. I just started uploading on the channel recently again, and any support would be greatly appreciated, especially as I'm trying a new type of video where I'm starting to script the videos. So just let me know what you think. Enjoy the video. I think the most obvious example of this was in my school life. At the time, I was taking an English class, and even though I really enjoyed having the teacher and the class itself wasn't so bad, I had absolutely zero motivation or drive whatsoever to do any work in there. So sometimes I just outright didn't. And the teacher, although I do like them, they were very lenient with the due dates, and I guess looking back on it, this gave me a way to cope and say stuff like I'll just get it done later, and then that later that I speak of would never come, and I would never actually end up finishing said work. This was something that I myself hadn't really thought that I would ever get to before. So I didn't know what to really do about it and how to find my passion again. I think looking back on it, another factor was that I had a friend in the class, and every day when there wasn't much going on, or at least we thought there wasn't much going on, we would just pull out laptops and play Pokemon ROM hacks in class all day when we thought there wasn't anything important. So I guess it got to the point where I almost saw the class more as a way to play the Pokemon ROM hacks than to actually care about doing decent at all. Another note is I had to do a study on a book that, to be honest, to be frank, I hated the book. It was like, I forget what the book was. It was like a biography on like a hockey person. And it was like a class-wide book. Everybody did the same book, so it's not like I could just switch that book out for something I might find a little more interesting, because everybody was doing the same thing, and then it tied into something that we would do later in the year. Now, it got to the point where I didn't even finish this book. I only got to like the fifth chapter out of, I think it was like 12 or 13, and then I just kind of cruised by without getting it done. I mean, there was a second book as well, but that one honestly wasn't that bad. I kind of enjoyed it near the end. It got wacky, but that kept me hooked, I feel. It got to the point where I didn't even know what was going on. So when it came to actually writing about the last little chunk of my book, I just kind of had to, like scrape some of it to the side. Yeah, like it got so bad I didn't even know how to put it into writing within the last 5 chapters. But the absurdity of the ending did keep me kind of engaged near the end. But back to the topic of my passion, I think the biggest factor was the fact that I fell into a routine of not putting 100% effort into my stuff anymore over the course of the past 3 or 4, even 5 years. Specifically, stuff I didn't care about. and I didn't care what I did at the time, so nothing felt like it mattered to me. I fell into a sort of compliance with mediocrity in my work. Now, how did I overcome this issue I had? I think the main factor that changed between 2 years ago and just this last year was I embraced a lot of new experiences in relation to my passion. I guess broke the cycle of doing schoolwork, then staying at home and not doing much. This last year I've been doing a lot more outside and in person with people more than any past year. Another thing I did was I set myself goals for stuff I did. For example, in this is another English class, but it was just this last year. And another little bit of context, it wasn't the same teacher at all. It was a different teacher, a little more strict, I guess. So I would end up setting goals for myself. Just for example, say get above a 75%. And most of the time it actually ended up working. I was able to force myself to try harder so I could achieve goals that I set for myself, and I was able to find my passion again by giving myself something to work towards. This next one is about basketball. I played basketball for 2 years in high school and 3 more years before that. So in total, about 5 years to on a more professional, I guess, level, but still nowhere near professional. Basketball season, it would usually run from about November, sometimes early October, sometimes mid-October, to just the start of February, obviously with a break in December for Christmas alongside the school year as well. Now, before the first season I actually played, I had to skip my first year because I wasn't able to make it to like the tryouts because I was like deathly sick. Like I could barely even show up to the school. Matter of fact, go and play sports for an hour. So before the second year total of high school, I was playing a lot in order to feel like I was good enough to play. I would say most of the summer beforehand, I was playing about 3 to 4 days a week ish, sometimes less, sometimes more, obviously. So I ended up playing the whole season, but I didn't perform all too good. I felt like at the end of my first season, I was so done with the sport and I lost all the fun I had had before. I feel like I had no passion to continue playing. And at that point, I plan to not even play the next year or the year after that. Then, at the start of the summer, just a few months after, I had sprained my ankle. It was like the right at the end of July too, so it was right as we got off for the break. And this meant that I wouldn't be able to do anything basketball related for a while. The doctor said like a couple months, but I ended up getting back in like probably 2 months later. But it was after that month or two of not playing, I actually started to get the itch to start playing again. So with the next season coming up, this was in September about. I decided that I was going to play that year as well. And that season, I actually made it a priority to not care as much. And that doesn't mean that I put on a nonchalant gimmick or sold the rest of my team. I just didn't set myself high expectations to perform well and went in with the mindset that I was there just to have fun. This may seem contradictory to what I said in the last section, but I think the purpose of the activity that I was doing is so vastly different that different methods of finding my passion again were able to work just fine. Like, for example, the purpose of me doing the schoolwork is it's work. It's not meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be work. And while the other one, I saw basketball as a way of entertainment, a way to have fun. So just the contrast and purpose of the activity, I guess, is how I was able to use different methods to find my passion again. So this is my first scripted video. So if you like the style of this one over the freestyle type of the last video, do let me know in the comments so I can actually change it up and do what people would like to see. These videos do take a lot longer to make now because I am scripting and then recording audio and then getting background footage and then editing as well. So I won't be able to do these for daily uploads. But again, if you do have any ideas for me to make videos on, just topics for me to talk about, do let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.